folks, I'm Vasel, and welcome to the Dice Tower. Today we're going to talk about a genre I really like in board gaming, and that's story-driven games. These are not games where you necessarily make up the theme. The theme is already there for you, and there's a deep story in the game, and you can discover that story as time goes by. And so there is a whole lot of games that do this. I'm going to pick the top 10 I think that do the best at this. So here we go, starting with number 10. Number 10 is Mice and Mystics. Mice and Mystics is almost a role-playing style game for kids and adults as they work together. You're a bunch of people who've been turned into mice, and then for the rest of the game you're just mice and walking around and fighting rats and cockroaches and things. But the story, there is a ton of story that Plaid Hat Games put into here. So much story that you can go online and you can get people reading this story out loud, because there's just that much, and the story makes the game. As you go to each mission and you go through the kitchen, and all sorts of things are going to happen. And the expansion does the same thing, brings in a new main bad guy with a really good story behind him. Number 9 is Betrayal at Baldur's Gate. Betrayal at Baldur's Gate is a game in which it's Betrayal at House on a Hill is the original one of this, and I could have put that here. I like Baldur's Gate better because it's just the game as itself is a little better, but you're going through a Dungeons and Dragon type area that's pretty haunted, and you're going through and all sorts of weird things happen to you as they flip the cards over, and crazy things happen here, and eventually a haunt starts, and someone amongst you possibly is a traitor, and then they will fight against everybody else, and the whole thing comes together in a really interesting way back and forth. Number 8 is Eldritch Horror. This is a fantastic Cthulhu-style game, and I picked this over Arkham Horror because Eldritch Horror tells a more cohesive story. As you go through and you find different adventures, and weird things happen to you, and you go all over the world, and there's monsters that you fight, but it's these adventures, and the adventures, depending on which great old one you're fighting, these adventures will be specifically pointed towards that person, and so kind of all coalesce towards each other. Especially if you play with some of the new stuff. There's the one that the Dreamer. Ooh, some really weird, freaky stuff there, but it's interesting and makes a good story. Number 7 is Choose Your Own Adventure, the board game. Now, this is not out quite yet as of me recording this video, but it will be out very soon. I highly recommend this game. It is Choose Your Own Adventure in a game. And I like that. It tells a story you go through, but what I like is it's cohesive. Like, you are following this story and going through, and weird, crazy things happen, and you make your choices, and the choices you make will affect what happens later on. And so it's not just a straight story, go right or left. Every time you go left, you die. Maybe if you go left, but you have a certain thing, it will work this time. And so you can play through the whole thing, which I think takes maybe 3-4 hours, and then you can go back and play through it again. I just love the story. It was preposterous, but fun. Number 6 is Stuffed Fables. Another one from Jerry Hawthorne, who did Mice and Mystics and Plaid Hat Games. This is an even better storytelling game where you cooperatively are working together, and you're a bunch of animals who are protecting a little girl. This game is fantastic for families. It's with children. There's so many interesting things. You each take your animal, you go and you fight some nasty nightmare-style creatures, which are a little scary for kids. Not that scary, but scary enough to make it feel real, and the story is fantastic. Again, as you choose and go different places, the story might change, and just a really well done game, and also it's beautiful on top of that. Then we're at number 5, Tales of Arabian Nights. Now, this game is the very quintessential Choose Your Own Adventure game, because it's a book full of thousands of paragraphs, and you're going to be moving around the board, and you're going to come into different adventures, and you will read a paragraph and then make a decision, or you might have skills that affect how that paragraph happens, and you will start as a bold adventurer. You might end up losing an eye, going insane, having someone who fell in love with you now chasing you across the lands. All sorts of crazy, intriguing things will happen in this game, and the writing is very well done. So that's Tales of Arabian Nights. Number 4 is Mansions of Madness. Another Cthulhu game. This one has the storytelling helped by the app that's inside the game itself. There's an app that you can get on your phone or iPad or Android or whatever, and you play this app, and it will randomize things, but also has a story. You will go through, and monsters will show up in this mansion that you have to fight or run from. but you don't always fight, right? And sometimes you're just going around and looking in drawers and talking to people and investigating people and the music and everything. And it has this very strong storyline. It's really entertaining. Mansion of Madness 2nd edition. Number 3 is Time Stories. Time Stories is a game in which you are in the future with a group of people and you are sent back in time to fix things. So you're put in different people's bodies, and depending on the module that you're playing, it might be in an insane asylum, or it might be on a pirate ship, or it might be in the Middle Ages, or it might be in different spots throughout time. I'm trying not to spoil things. But each story is different. You go through, and eventually you will mess up and get sent back to the future. And then you go back in time and try to do it right this time. And the stories are really well written with great pictures and great art. Highly recommend it. Number 2 is Near and Far from Ryan Lockett. This is a game that's very similar to Tales of Arabian Nights, but actually has a really good game involved, where you're going to get a group of adventurers and you're going through and collecting these adventures and stocking up, and then you go out and go on adventures. But what really makes Tales Near and Far really shine for me is that as you play through the adventure, different characters will show up and they will grow and evolve, and there's some interesting backstories even for your characters that you can get involved with. A lot of replayability. Really good game, Near and Far. And number 1 for me right now is Seventh Continent. Seventh Continent, which you can play solo or you can play with other people, is you are thrown onto this seventh continent, and it's in the 1920s, I think, and you walk around and you find things and it seems all good. But as time goes by, you're finding some weird and mysterious and supernatural stuff will show up on the island. It's a really entertaining game. Random stuff will happen to you, but the storyline, you are trying to, again, finish it, kind of like Time Stories, till you get it done. An excellent, really cool game with puzzles and mysteries, and it has almost like a King Kong Island type feel to it. I love it. Wonderful game. Seventh Continent. Those are my top 10 story-driven games. What did I miss? What should I have had on this list? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.